Welcome back to the shops. It is August of 2024, and I'm going to do a quick introductory video showing our On30 locomotive kits. Specifically, I have a card here, numbers 10, 12, and 14. And these are resin 3D prints that fit on the Bachmann bill and bend mechanism. Hey there, I need to clean that tablet. So here we have number 10, which is a round tank. I've started painting on this one, so it's working pretty good. A round tank and a square tank. That's the resin. That's the raw resin print. And then this is a no tank locomotive, like one back there in the background, which these you can run without a tender. You'll probably want a tender for that one because steam locomotives don't run without water to make steam. And all three of these, and there may be some more down the road. I've got a number 16 that I'm trying to get to work. I think it'll work with some side tanks that are square, side tanks. Not a tank that sits over the top of the boiler, but tanks that are on both sides of the boiler. And that's going to take a slightly larger boiler like this locomotive. This has a slightly larger boiler than the others. But all of these run on, and this is the kit bash part. The whole point is to make kit bashing easier. It's never easy. It's a hobby. It's something you have to work at. And it's something that certainly has a bunch of different skills that you need to master to do it effectively. But the mechanism for these, and these are On30 locomotives, so they run on HO track. This is a Bachmann HO bill/ben. So it's a really simple DC mechanism with four wheels, no pilot, and lovely yellow cylinders. I would mention two things about this. First of all, you can cut out these gears. Let me get this closer. These gears in the front, focus. These are basically useless. They move the eyes. We're not going to have moving eyes, surprisingly. And then this is a board which really I think it's mainly to reduce interference with televisions and other electronic appliances. So honestly, what I did is I removed this board and ran the leads from this set of wheels to this side of the motor, and from this set of wheels to the opposite side of the motor, and soldered them onto the motor, got rid of this board, and it works much better. And I do have a video on how to convert this and how to install DCC on this mechanism. So hopefully I can remember to link that someplace, depending on where you view this video. It's on the Facebook page. So that's the mechanism. And the point is to make it as simple as possible to bash it into a functional On30 locomotive. So this is the casting for an 040, 040, either way. And I just want to make it where stuff just fit into place. It's a bit of a tight fit, which is good because then glue is optional. So that is a close coupled pilot. Let's pop that off. Or you can also make it as a 240 with this extended pilot, and then the lead truck fits in there. I'll show you how that fits on the finished model up there. So you've got two options for the pilot. And then, well, I'll tell you what, let's leave this one on there so it'll look more finished. So let's pop on the, well, usually if you slide that in first, it works better. There we go. And there are four, usually I'll include some small screws. There are four mounting posts from the original mechanism. By the way, I've bought this mechanism from Bachmann in the US from their online parts store. So it comes, like that. It comes with no body on it. But you also can find bills or bins on eBay currently. And so there are four 4 mounting posts, the 2 there and 2 there, and that's a really simple way to connect the body to the frame. And then let's look at our other parts back here. Where does everything go? That's the main reason I'm making this video. I want to make it really simple. Of course, the roof, it's there. So now we're looking like more like a locomotive. There were some flaws in this print, which is why I was just making this for myself and not selling it. I'm pretty picky about that sort of thing. And then the back head, the decent bit of detail. I've tried painting some of these with kind of a gold brass color, and that looks really good. So I'm not going to really assemble this because that would be even more boring. Let's see, how shall we do this? What order? These are drawbars to connecting it with the tender, or you can also fit a Katy coupler into this hole in the back there if you want to run it like, well, like this locomotive. See, he's got the coupler there, so this can run like a Bachmann Porter, very similar to that. So we've got 3 different stacks, a wood-burning stack, a tapered stack, and a straight stack. And then you can also fit this little cap onto the straight stack, and brass color is nice for that if you want some detail like that. You know what? It fits on there. It really does. There we go. So there's your cap stack. We've got 3 stacks to choose from. Let's put one on there because it looks better with it connected. There are little guides that make sure it goes straight, make sure the rivet detail's in the right place. And it's just slightly too large. So I would sand a little bit on the edges of this print and get it to where it'll fit snugly. I really prefer, there we go. Good enough for now. I really prefer where things will press fit and hold themselves in place without having to have any glue. We've also got a couple of headlights. Let's see, these are the headlights for a slightly more modern straight boiler. So there's an arc light and a visored electric light. Usually with an older locomotive like this, I would also include, well, there's an example there, a box headlight, older style. So that fits into the slots there. I haven't set one of these up to make the headlight work yet, but I think it's doable. I've done it on other models. And I would use a 3-volt LED. I've got some micro LEDs that are really sharp. And then you have to put a resistor, and I'll have to look up the type of resistor you need to use. But you have to use a resistor on the positive side because the voltage coming from the motor is 12 volts, and you got to step that down to 3. So whatever you use to get 12 volts down to 3 is what you need to use. So a couple of headlights, a couple of headlight lenses. I print these just so you'll have them, but Bachmann lenses will also fit, and they're better. We've got a hatch for the roof. Oh, that fit nicely. And some coupler pockets in case you need them. Some headlight supports, which this one actually I need to explain because it's got slots in the bottom. Can you see that? It's really hard to see. There are slots that fit into the slots on top here. So if you need to extend a headlight out over the front of the boiler, over the front of the smoke box, then you can do that. And also a couple of number plates, you know where those go. I usually include a bell. Let's see, can you see the bell? Those are hard to print. Those took a while to figure out. And a pin for keeping the coupler pockets in place. Like here's kind of the idea is that these pockets will fit into the slot like a Katy coupler pocket, but those are kind of hard to come by sometimes. So in case you need them, you've got extra coupler pockets. And the whistle, which I'm still working on these, but this one works pretty well. It really, with resin, it wouldn't work to have an extended arm on these. And I can recommend the whistles from Wiseman. Wiseman Model Shops, Keith Wiseman in Paris, Kentucky. Wiseman Model Works, I think is the right name. Okay, here's the important part. This mechanism has this big chunk of metal on the back here. And I had to figure out, on a British loco, it doesn't make any difference, but I had to figure out how to hide it because it just doesn't look right. So I came up with these air tanks that have a little pin or a tab right there that fits into this hole. And if it works right, if I do it correctly, and what are the odds of that? I didn't test fit this. So it'll work easier if I take it off the mechanism. And it holds itself in place so that there we can see. The little tab fits into this hole here. And then these they'd probably be air tanks, but we have to have tanks or something back here to hide the big chunk of metal on Ben's mechanism. I mean, if you really wanted to, you could take a grinder and grind off this whole part back here, but you'd lose a lot of weight and it's just a lot of work. And I prefer to just not, let's not make any changes to the metal. Let's not grind any metal away because that's painful. There's also, let me show you. This is a drawbar that I created that steps things down just a little bit and adds a bit of mass between the locomotive and the tender. And let me show you why that works that way. Oh, and I also have made some handrail stanchions in case you need them, because these mechanisms won't come with any handrail stanchions. So these are I've kind of enjoyed using them. They work really good. Let's pull this locomotive out, and I'll show you how things connect or how I've set it up. You may have a much better idea for how to do this. So this is a 12-foot tender, and these are, we've got a whole line of these. This is a whaleback. And these work really good with these locomotives. And of course, with a locomotive like this without a tank, you would need to have some kind of tender for water and fuel, water and oil in this case. So if we looked underneath here, let me grab where's my pointer? I have no idea where that went. Oh, pencil will work. So you can see how the truck for the front wheel set, and this is a set of, I think they're 38-inch wheels. And I found some, and I wish I could find more of them, that have a metal axle to add some extra weight. And then I had to grind down the pins on each side and then painted it black. So I would love to be able to provide that kind of thing. I just can't source it yet. I don't know where to find it. And if we look in here closely, there are little pieces of brass that I cut off from brass stock, just brass wire, that are glued in to these holes. There are holes in the truck, and that holds the wheel set in place. And with the weight, it bounces right over the switches and everything. Also, I tried printing detail into the builder's plate, and it kind of worked. I was really surprised. So I came, after painting everything else, this really needs to be weathered. I just haven't done that yet. I came back with two parts of glossy black and one part of gold, and used that to paint the builder's plate, which turned out pretty good. I probably should dry brush some gold over the top of it to make the letters stand out a bit more. But you can see the bell and the whistle, which are painted. And then you've got your boiler stays, I think those are called. And the other thing I wanted to show you is you can see how this drawbar is connected with this pin. And it's got a coupler pocket in there, so it holds it in place. And then on the tender, I took a bit of brass And you can put a coupler on the front of the tender here. It's designed to take like a Katy size coupler pocket. But I put a there's a hole in the center where you put the screw in to mount the coupler pocket. I put a piece of brass in there instead, so that when they're coupled together, this is just a really simple connection that hasn't come loose yet, and it's glued in place. And anyway, that's how I connect the tender to the locomotive. Now, if you want to do it a more permanent type connection, I guess the way to do that would be to use one of these other coupler pockets on the tender and mount that there, and then the drawbar would simply connect the two. Or if you've got a metal drawbar handy, that would be probably better, because metal doesn't break as easily as resin. And this is a flexible, tough resin, but still, it's breakable. And so these connect like that. Oh, and I got another tender to show you, which is where? There it is. So in case you're not into the whaleback thing, and this one also has a piece of brass mounted. And this is a good point. This tender has two Katy arch bar trucks, which are available separately, as they would say, and then a Katy coupler on the back end there. And that's a 4 axles, 8 wheels, 2 trucks, however you want to think about it. And this tender it's the same size. Let's move some of this stuff. It's the same size tender. It's also 12 feet long, but this one is it's got more standard toolboxes and a really bad coal load. It's the best I could do with the print. I really should come in and put some fake coal in there. It would look much better. But you can see the underframe is just 2 axles. And so those can be ordered either way. But I will tell you one thing, 2 axles are a whole lot easier to get on the track than 4. Works a lot better. Anyway, that's the intro. Please let me know if you have any questions. I will probably find other things that I need to clarify. And, hey, I've got an exit card. There we go. Sort of works. That's it. Let's see how this uploads. And please let me know if you have any questions. See you guys.